But the first thing I need to do is find my work phone and shut it off. I'm not gonna turn it back on for like a week. So let me give you a call back and let me find my work phone. Yep. What the hell?
$30.
It doesn't even have any power. This is getting weird. My first Android experience was with the original Motorola Droid with the slide-out keyboard, and it's been a long time since I used the Droid since, considering they're Verizon-only devices. But it seems like the exclusivity of these Droid phones are becoming less and less. For instance, take the Droid Bionic, which is nearly the same exact phone as the Motorola Atrix outside the fingerprint scanner. And if you fast forward to the present, we have the Droid Maxx 2, or better known as the Moto X Play. With a smaller form factor than the Moto X Pure in every way, shape, or form, you really can't help but pick this phone up and think, damn, this feels like last year's Moto X. The phone has a metal side trim and a texturized back, and it's very slick, but still provides a good enough grip to let you know you're not going to drop it, and it gives you a very solid feel. Even the Motorola dimple is on the back that we've all grown to love, and it's there for caressing whenever you're placing a phone call or just feel like touching. In fact, I actually prefer the design of the Droid Maxx 2 over my Moto X Pure in almost every way, except for that Verizon Droid tramp stamp located right there on the back. Thankfully though, that can be replaced with a replacement back cover from a third-party source or one purchased directly from Motorola. Unfortunately, unlike the Moto X and the Droid Turbo, the Droid Maxx can't be customized with Moto Maker, but it still does have a water repellent coating and an SD card slot expandable up to 128 gigs. On the front side of the Droid Maxx 2, you're going to find a 5 megapixel camera, some sensors, but not the same sensors found on the Moto X Pure or Droid Turbo used for detecting an incoming palm or hand. You're going to find a 5.5-inch 1080p display with Gorilla Glass 3, and at the bottom you're going to find one front-facing speaker. The display on the Maxx 2 is very nice. It's not a Quad HD panel, but I still believe they're kind of overrated anyways. Being that Motorola has steered away from AMOLED panels, this year they have LCD panels, and you're going to get great outdoor visibility and great viewing angles. Even though you're not going to get the darkest blacks with an LCD panel, you're going to get very natural colors, and color reproduction on the Droid Maxx 2 is pretty damn good. I mean, the colors are for the most part really accurate, even though they appear a bit muted at times. You can check the color grid here and see for yourself. Nonetheless, the display provides great contrast and great sharpness, so it's definitely a winner, making for a great viewing experience. Powering this phone is a Snapdragon 615 and the Adreno 405, coupled with 2GB of RAM. Day-to-day performance for me was stellar, although there was definitely noticeable lag even doing the most simplest task. Now, I noticed a lag in specific tasks, like swiping through my apps or answering a notification, but I didn't notice any lag during gameplay, and I played a few games on this. Nothing too extraneous, but I did play things like the new Walking Dead game and also Mortal Kombat, and I didn't notice really any hiccups at all. This could have more to do with the software rather than the chipset though, in theory. The Droid Maxx 2 is running Android 5.1.1 with a very light, almost stock skin on top of it that we all appreciate Motorola for. The update to Android M will happen, and I'd love to tell you sooner than later. However, ultimately this will come down to the carrier. One of the leading causes of stutters on the Droid Maxx 2 is due to the excessive bloatware found on it. Verizon really has stuffed this thing as much as they could with unnecessary apps that really affect the performance. For instance, when I first got this phone, pulled it out of the box and started using it, that's when I noticed the majority of the hiccups and stutters, and I noticed there was a ton of bloatware on it. Once I disabled all the bloatware that I could and uninstalled the games, the performance did get better. Now, you may not get all the software quirks that are found on the Moto X Pure or the Droid Turbo, but you still do get a few. Twisting your wrist does still launch the camera, but don't try the flashlight gesture. Even though it doesn't activate by simply waving your hand over the front of your phone, active display is still there to give you your notifications at a glance. Watching YouTube videos, browsing the web, and playing games in the Maxx 2 was great. The speaker, it's not the loudest, but it got plenty loud for me. Again, it may not for you, but for my taste, it was perfectly loud enough. And the fact that it's front firing was a major benefit because my hands never accidentally covered the speaker once, so thank you, Motorola. Battery life on this phone is actually really good, and it might be because it has a 1080p panel, or it might be because it doesn't have flagship specs, but nonetheless, the battery life is incredible. I thought I turned my phone off when I put it in my work backpack, and when I took it out, roughly about a week later, it still had juice and it was still turned on. Even if it is the 1080p panel or the reduced specs, the fact that it has a 3630 milliamp hour battery is probably the #1 answer why it gets amazing battery life, and thanks to that size of battery, you're going to get 5 to 6 hours of screen on time easily. The camera found on this phone is a 21 megapixel shooter with a Sony sensor, a new AF system, software stabilization, and a single LED flash. All in all, it's the same camera as the Moto X Pure. The biggest differences are the fact that it doesn't feature a front-facing flash, and also the fact that it doesn't capture 4K video, and it does slow motion in 540p, which is a strange resolution, but nonetheless, you can take some pretty good shots with this camera if you plan your shot correctly. The camera UI really hasn't changed at all either, so there's really no need to go into detail about it. But I will tell you though, when it comes to the camera, that this thing can take amazing photos if you give it time and you actually plan your shot. Now, it is still that basic UI, so you're not going to get multiple settings or any manual controls, but if you actually plan the shot right, the new sensor found on the new Droid Maxx 2 can take a great picture. The Droid Maxx 2 retails for $380 unlocked, and that's a great price considering that you pay $380, you don't have to be on a contract, you don't have to sign a contract, and you get that $15 a month discount that Verizon offers you for not being on a contract. Given the total package of what you get with this phone, it's definitely a great choice for people on Verizon who don't want to break the bank. Although if it was up to me personally and you had the cash, I'd go with the Droid Turbo or the Moto X Pure, which have better specs and more customization options. Well guys, that does it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like, share, wave, kiss, sub, and be easy. And of course, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.